If you are over 70 and you have always believed that walking alone is enough to keep your body strong, I want you to stop scrolling for just a moment, because what I am about to tell you could change the way you think about aging for the rest of your life. We have all been told the same thing for decades. Walk every day, get your steps in, and your body will stay healthy. And yes, walking matters. But there is something far more important that almost nobody is talking about. Something that determines whether you will be climbing stairs with ease at 80 or struggling to lift yourself off the sofa. And most people over 60 are not doing it at all. Welcome back to the channel, my friend. I am Dr. Elias, and this channel exists for one reason only: to help you stay strong, mobile, and independent for as many years as possible, using simple, honest, science-backed guidance that does not require a gym membership or a young person's body. If you are new here, I am glad you found us today, because what we are about to discuss might be one of the most important 10 minutes you spend on your health this year. And if you have been with me before, thank you for trusting me with your time again. It means more than you know. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about your honest answer. When you stand up from a low chair, do you sometimes need to push off with both hands? When you carry grocery bags up a flight of stairs, does your heart race and your legs feel heavier than they used to? When you step off a curb unexpectedly, does your body feel slow to react, like it is half a second behind where it should be? If any of that sounds familiar, please know this is not a personal failure. It is not because you have not walked enough. It is because of something happening quietly inside your body that walking on its own was never designed to fix. After the age of 55, your body begins losing a kind of strength called power. Not just muscle size, but the speed at which your muscles can fire. Scientists call this loss of power far more dangerous than ordinary muscle loss, because power is what catches you when you trip, what lifts you out of a chair quickly, what helps you recover your balance before a stumble becomes a fall. Walking trains endurance. It does almost nothing to train power. And that gap, the one walking leaves wide open, is exactly where most of the danger of aging quietly lives. Here is something that surprised even me when I first studied this deeply. The single greatest predictor of whether someone over 60 will still be living independently 10 years from now is not their step count, it is not their weight, and it is not even their walking speed. It is how quickly they can rise from a seated position to a fully standing position, and how steady they remain when they get there. Researchers have studied this for years, and the pattern keeps repeating itself in clinic after clinic, study after study. People who can rise quickly and steadily from a chair tend to keep their independence. People who struggle with that movement tend to lose it, often within a few short years. So today, I am not going to tell you to walk more. I am going to introduce you to the one movement that I believe deserves a permanent place in your daily routine, if you are serious about staying strong, balanced, and independent as you age. And it is called the standing march with a wall press. A movement so simple you can do it in your kitchen in under 5 minutes, and so powerful that physical therapists quietly rely on it to rebuild strength and balance in patients recovering from falls, surgeries, and long periods of inactivity. Let me explain why this particular movement matters so much. Because once you understand the reasoning, you will never look at simple daily exercise the same way again. Walking is what we call a low-output, repetitive motion. Your legs swing forward in a familiar pattern, your arms swing gently, and your body moves through a narrow, predictable range. It is safe, it is gentle, and it has real value, especially for your heart and your mood. But your body adapts to walking extremely quickly, sometimes within a few weeks. And once it adapts, walking stops challenging your muscles in any meaningful new way. Meanwhile, real life rarely asks you to move in that narrow, predictable pattern. Real life asks you to lift one knee while balancing on the other leg to step over a curb. Real life asks you to catch yourself when a rug slips under your foot. Real life asks you to stay upright while reaching into a high cabinet or bending down to pick up something you dropped. None of that is forward walking. All of it requires single-leg balance, hip strength, and the kind of quick stabilizing power that walking simply does not train. The standing march with a wall press trains exactly that in a controlled, completely safe environment, using nothing but a wall and your own body weight. Here is exactly how to do it, and I want you to listen carefully, because doing this correctly matters far more than doing it quickly. Stand facing a sturdy wall or the back of a stable chair, close enough that you can rest your fingertips lightly against it for balance. Keep your feet hip-width apart, your chest tall, and your shoulders relaxed. Slowly lift one knee up toward your hip, as if you are marching in place, while keeping your standing leg slightly soft, not locked. Hold that lifted position for 1 to 2 seconds, feeling your standing leg and your core working to keep you steady. Then slowly lower your foot back down with control. Switch to the other leg and repeat. That is 1 full repetition. In the beginning, you may need to press your fingertips firmly against the wall for support, and that is completely fine. As your balance improves over the coming weeks, you will notice you need less and less support, until eventually you may be able to do this with just 1 finger touching the wall, or no support at all. This is not a race. This is a conversation between your brain and your muscles, and that conversation gets stronger every single time you practice it. Now let me tell you why this movement reaches so much deeper into your body than people expect. Every time you lift one leg and hold your balance on the other, your brain is forced to make hundreds of tiny adjustments through your ankle, your hip, and your core, all happening below the level of conscious thought. This is your proprioceptive system at work, the internal sense that tells your brain exactly where your body is in space. As we age, this system quietly weakens if it is not regularly challenged, and a weakened proprioceptive system is one of the most overlooked reasons seniors fall, often on perfectly flat, dry ground, for no obvious reason at all. Walking barely challenges this system because both feet are rarely far from the ground at the same time. The standing march does the opposite. It puts your balance system through gentle, repeated stress tests in the safest possible setting, with a wall right there to catch you if needed, so that your nervous system relearns how to stabilize you in the real world, where the ground is not always flat and life does not always give you a warning. There is also something happening here that goes beyond muscles and balance, something that touches your heart and your mind as well. When you challenge your body with controlled, intentional movement like this, your brain releases a cascade of signals that researchers now refer to as the exercise-brain connection. Engaging your core and stabilizing muscles increases blood flow to regions of the brain responsible for coordination and spatial awareness, which is part of why people who regularly train balance and stability often report feeling mentally sharper, not just physically steadier. This single movement is quietly training your brain and your body at the same time, strengthening the very wiring that keeps you safe, alert, and confident in your own movements. I know some of you listening to me right now may be feeling a little worried. Maybe you are thinking, my balance is already poor. Is this safe for me? Maybe you are thinking, I had a fall before. I am scared to try anything that challenges my balance. I want to gently address that fear directly, because it is one of the most common and most understandable fears I hear about. The wall press version of this exercise was specifically designed with that fear in mind. You are never standing without support nearby. You are never moving quickly. You are never moving quickly. You are never lifting your leg higher than feels completely comfortable. This is not about pushing your limits. This is about gently expanding them, one safe repetition at a time, in your own kitchen, your own bathroom counter, your own living room, with something solid always within reach. If you have a history of falls, a recent surgery, severe arthritis, or any condition that concerns you, please speak with your doctor or a physical therapist before beginning, because your safety always comes first, and nothing in this video should replace personalized medical advice for your specific situation. Let me paint you a picture, because I think stories explain this far better than statistics ever could. A few years ago, I worked with a woman in her late 70s who had stopped going to her grandchildren's school events because she was terrified of the long hallways, the crowded entryways, the uneven outdoor pavement leading up to the building. She told me, quite simply, I just don't trust my legs anymore. We started with this exact movement, the standing march with a wall press, just a few repetitions a day, holding the wall the entire time. Within 2 weeks, she told me she felt a small but real difference standing up from her favorite armchair. Within 6 weeks, she was doing the movement with only one fingertip on the counter. And by the 3rd month, she attended her grandson's school play, walked the long hallway on her own, and told me afterward, with tears in her eyes, that she had forgotten what it felt like to trust her own body. That is not a magic trick. That is not a miracle supplement or a special diet. That is simply what happens when you give your nervous system and your muscles a reason to remember how strong they still are. Now, how often should you actually do this? Start small, and start exactly where your body is today, not where you wish it was. Begin with 5 to 8 lifts on each leg once a day, holding the wall the entire time if needed. There is absolutely no shame in needing full support in the beginning. Every single person who has ever built real, lasting balance started exactly where you are starting today. As the days pass and the movement starts to feel more familiar, you can slowly increase your repetitions, hold each lift a little longer, or reduce how much pressure you place on the wall. Aim to practice this most days of the week, even if it is just for 2 or 3 minutes. This is not about intensity. This is about sending your nervous system a consistent, repeated message that says, we are still capable, we are still needed, we are still strong. And the body listens far more to consistency than it ever does to occasional bursts of effort. I also want to gently address the emotional side of this, because I think it gets ignored far too often in conversations about aging and exercise. Losing confidence in your own balance does something quiet and corrosive to a person's spirit. It shrinks your world without you even noticing it happening. You stop going to certain places. You avoid certain stares. You decline invitations you would have once said yes to without thinking twice. And slowly, your life becomes smaller, not because your body forced it to, but because fear convinced you it had to. Rebuilding your balance is not just a physical project. It is an emotional reclamation. Every time you complete this small movement in the safety of your own home, you are quietly telling yourself that your world does not have to keep shrinking, that you can trust your legs again, that you are allowed to say yes to the things you have been quietly saying no to. Let's talk about how this connects with walking. Because I am not here to tell you walking is unimportant. Walking remains wonderful for your heart, your circulation, your lungs, and your mood. And I hope you continue walking regularly for the rest of your life. But think of it this way. Walking nourishes your endurance and your heart, while the standing march with a wall press nourishes your balance, your power, and your nervous system. One without the other leaves a real gap in your overall strength and safety. Together, they form a far more complete picture of healthy aging than either one alone ever could. If you already walk daily, wonderful. Simply add 3 to 5 minutes of this balance movement before or after your walk, and within a matter of weeks, you may notice your walking itself begins to feel steadier, more confident, and less effortful, because the foundation underneath your steps has quietly grown stronger. I want to speak honestly to anyone who feels discouraged right now. Anyone who has tried exercise programs before and given up. Anyone who feels like their body has already decided how the rest of their story goes. Your body is not finished writing its story. Muscle, balance, and nervous system strength remain remarkably responsive to gentle, consistent challenge well into your 70s, 80s, and beyond. Researchers have documented meaningful strength and balance improvements in people starting these kinds of exercises for the very first time in their 80s and 90s. It is genuinely, truly not too late. The only requirement is that you begin. Not perfectly, not dramatically, just honestly, with whatever small effort you can offer today. In the coming days, I want you to try something simple. Stand near your kitchen counter tomorrow morning, before your coffee even finishes brewing, and try 5 gentle marches on each leg. That is all. Do not overthink it. Do not wait until you feel ready, because readiness tends to arrive after we begin, not before. Notice how your body feels afterward. Notice it again the next day, and the day after that. Small, quiet repetitions like this are how real, lasting strength gets built. Not through dramatic transformations, but through patient, daily trust between you and your own body. If this video has given you something valuable today, even just one small idea you plan to try tomorrow morning, I would love for you to leave a comment below and tell me your age and whether balance or strength feels like the bigger challenge for you right now. I read every comment, and your stories genuinely shape the videos I make next for this community. If you found this helpful, please consider liking the video, since it genuinely helps this message reach other people who need to hear it just as much as you did today. And if you would like more honest, practical, science-grounded guidance for staying strong and independent as you age, please subscribe to the channel and join us for future videos, where we will keep exploring simple movements just like this one together. Take a slow breath with me right now. Relax your shoulders and remember this clearly. Your strength is not behind you. It is still here, waiting quietly for you to ask for it again. One small, steady movement at a time.